The DJI Neo has made my life so much easier as a content creator. Let's talk about it. So over the past few months, I've been looking to break the monotony of the way I normally film and introduce more B-roll into videos where I'm showcasing my freestyle days, or setting up my drone, or vlogging my day at the park, the whole nine. Now I could get this done with the DJI Pocket 3, but that automatically restricts me to having to walk around with a giant, obnoxiously long selfie stick, or having to walk around with a super long tripod, or even having to use the mini tripod that you can buy from DJI as an accessory. But why do that when I could just use the DJI Neo? Something just as obnoxious, with the added advantage of getting more dynamic shots and not having to pay someone to follow me to make me look cool. It's a $200 cameraman, all right? A $200 cameraman that works in 15-minute increments. Lazy as hell, but we'll get to that later. So again, the drone itself is $200, or was $200 before tariffs. I purchased the drone in 2 battery combo pack for $289 on Amazon. There's also refurbished Neos that you can buy from DJI for $159, and the Fly More combo that includes a remote for $418. It's relatively cheap for a drone from DJI, and the best thing about it is you don't need a remote, which I love because I carry around way too much anyway. It's also pretty small and light, so it's easy to just strap it or throw it in a small compartment of your bag. Its camera sits on a gimbal and records at 4K 30 frames per second or 1080p at 30, 50, or 60 frames per second. The selling point of the Neo for me were the quick shot modes. That feature gives me so many more ways to creatively film things you'd normally need to hire someone to do, like tracking your direction, candid aerial shots of yourself, and following you at different distances and heights. By powering on the Neo and pressing the top button, you can choose between these quick shot modes very easily. The options you have are Droney, Spotlight, Rocket, Circle, Follow, and Custom, which you can set to anything you want, including Boomerang, Direction Track, and Helix, which are the quick shots not initially offered via pressing the top button on the Neo and need to be applied in the DJI Fly app. Once you connect your drone with the DJI Fly app, you can then customize any of the modes to your liking. For example, I love using Direction Track set to a follow height of high with the follow distance set to either medium or far. That and follow mode set to close at low height give me a little bit of the amateur cinematic feel I envision when putting together B-roll for videos like this. More specifically, I wanted to get better footage of myself walking to the park, setting up my equipment, and even the walk of shame if I need to go get my drone after crashing. There's also a built-in audio option that works with your phone's microphone settings and works to get rid of all the drone noise in the background as you're recording. And the audio is okay, but it's usable and it's good enough. Alright, we are now testing the microphone with the DJI app. Let me know how this sounds. Does it sound good to you? Does it sound a little muffled? Personally, I think it just sounds okay, and it's usable for the average person who isn't doing any sophisticated filming and just wants to get a little bit of audio, but let me know what you think. You can also use the DJI Mic 2 or any external mic connected to your phone for audio, but the best thing to do is use a mic unattached and sync audio in post. But in general, being able to record from right off your phone further drives home the convenience factor, making it easy for you to pump out vlogging content in a unique way without needing a dedicated vlogging camera, if the space you are in and around allows for a drone. If you prefer to use the Neo manually on occasion, there is a profile option for it in the app that you can choose before takeoff. Or if you need to take manual control during a quick shot for whatever reason, there's an option for it at the bottom left on the screen. And manually controlling the drone from your phone isn't terrible. It's pretty decent as long as you don't try to go too far or too high, because you'll lose signal pretty fast and get disconnected from the app. The max distance you can travel without a controller is 50 meters and the max height is 30 meters. If you get the remote, you can travel up to around 10 kilometers and there's no hard cap on the height that you can fly, assuming you're flying responsibly and not like an idiot. But there is a cap if you're following flight regulation rules. Having the remote will make manually controlling the drone way easier and also give you more access to more advanced customization settings when it comes to fine-tuning your video or picture quality. You'll also gain access to return to home functionality, which can be a lifesaver if you're flying kind of far out from yourself and you lose signal or you start running low on battery. And having the Goggles 3 or the N3 goggles will turn it into an FPV drone. So if you've been toying with the idea of getting into FPV, you have a little bit of an easier entry point at a cheaper price than having to go out and buy a Nevada or a DJI Air unit. And not going into the practicality of it, but you can use the motion controller if you want, or you can let your kids have it to give them something to play around with. And something else that's super slept on is the DJI Fly app Learning Center for the Neo. It's super easy to go through and shows you examples of each quick shot mode, how to use the remote, goggles, etc. And there's a full beginner's guide and other videos that will show you how to use the Neo to enhance your creative endeavors. It's very well put together and pretty streamlined in my opinion. And if you don't like the app, you could always watch people like me explain stuff to you. No harm in that. That's why I'm here.
Now this drone does have some drawbacks. One of the biggest being there isn't any obstacle avoidance. So if you're planning on doing quick shots and maxing out the height or the distance at 10 or 20 meters, make sure you have enough space. There were a few times where I thought I had enough space, but I ended up having to take manual control of the drone to make sure I didn't hit anything during a quick shot.
Another thing to consider with the Neo is how windy it is outside. You can see in this rocket quick shot at points there's vibration. I filmed some of these shots on a very windy day, and depending on how high you have the drone going, these vibrations can really mess up a good shot. It's important to keep in mind how small and light this thing is. So yeah, heavy wind is bad. Another thing to take note of is the footage that you see is not color graded. It's the normal profile, which isn't bad, and I do have an ND filter on. I mentioned earlier in the video that when you have the remote, you can access more advanced settings, customize things a lot more, and do a deeper dive into color grading during post-production if that's your thing. But however you choose to go about filming, you need to make sure you have an idea of what you want the shot to look like, what you want to film, etc. when you're on location, because the battery only lasts about 15 minutes. Which is why I highly recommend you get the battery pack if you're interested in this thing. Trust me, it is worth it. But yeah, man, this thing is pretty dope. This isn't an exhaustive list of all of its capabilities, but it does what I needed to do and makes filming on the go a lot easier. So if you're a vlogger or you go hiking on a regular basis and you want to film the scenery around you, or maybe you just want a unique way to film things and not break the bank, I would highly recommend it. This is for you. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you hate it. Let me know if you're indifferent. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Catch you later.